welcome to Take Time Thursday. My name is Janelle Cooper. It's great to be back this week after a short break. Today's topic is meditation and food justice. So you may be wondering why all of our programs are about food this month. Well, this month, our Take Time Thursdays will be about food in conjunction with ACM's year-long theme, Our Food, Our Future. This year, long examination of food history, culture, and justice includes the exhibit Food for the People, Eating and Activism in Greater Washington, and related programs designed to educate and encourage audiences to take action to create a more equitable future. Today's speaker is Dr. Kara Young. But before we bring her on, I would like to introduce you to my colleague who if you were with us last week, you'd seen her for the first time, Sage Morgan Hubbard. Right now, let's talk about what Take Times Thursdays actually is. It gives you a chance to take a 30-minute break each week with us every Thursday to relax your mind, your body, and your spirit. Sage, I will turn everything over to you and you can introduce today's guest speaker.
Thank you so much, Janelle. I'm very, very excited about this guest speaker. Dr. Kara Young is a food justice researcher and healer based in Oakland, California. As a consultant, she provides racial justice expertise, short and long-term project consultation, evaluation, assistance, and qualitative evaluations, as well as curriculum development to organization. She regularly gives lectures to groups around the country on anti-Black racism, as well as inequalities in the food system. She runs a very special healing practice called Moon Rhymes Healing, through which she does energy work and guided meditation with people around the world. We're very excited, and please give a warm Zoom welcome to Dr. Kara Young.
Thank you so much, Sage. It's really wonderful to be here, and I'm grateful for this invitation today. So I'm going to share my screen here. Oh, it says host disabled screen sharing. Is there a way to get the permissions? Okay, wonderful. Great. Can you all see my screen? I wish we could like holler if you hear me here. Okay, let's present. So Sage asked me to come on today for this Take Times Thursday to talk to you all about food justice and meditation. And so mostly we're going to be doing a guided meditation of about 10 minutes. So prepare for that. I invite you to find a comfortable seated position, to get your water or your tea, a blanket, a pillow, whatever it is you need to really relax, and to just settle in. Before we actually get to thinking about food justice and meditation, let's just literally pause. We are running around like crazy, all of us here. And it's always nice to just have a moment to just sit. So I invite you to feel all the places where your body is touching the surface that you're sitting on, and to start to connect with your breath as you're telling your spirit like, oh, right, here I am. Here I am, I'm right here. So food justice is a topic that's really close to my heart. And I think in order for us to think about food justice, I think there's 3 different ways that we can start to think about it. The first is in understanding that our food system is built on and reproduces all kinds of inequalities. Racism, sexism, classism are really built into the way that the system works. So if you were to imagine an apple, and you imagine how that apple might go from seed to getting to your kitchen, you can imagine a whole web of interconnected systems, institutions, corporations, and laborers that allow that apple to get to you. And if we are to zoom in on any one part of that system, we will inevitably find exploitation, labor rights abuses, violence, sexism, racism that are part and parcel of the system operating as it is. And this isn't really surprising because our food system, our modern food system, is really, it is the great, 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 great grandchild of a system that was built on the theft of indigenous land and the enslavement of African peoples. And what we see today is a system that is really still working with those colonial plantation style logics. So that's the first part of food justice. Food justice says, look, it's so easy to go into a grocery store and to feel removed from all of that labor and all of those like modes of production that go into getting that apple there, right? But from a food justice lens, we bring all of those relations back in and we say, this apple cannot be divorced from all of the inequality that brought the apple to us. And we are responsible for looking and trying to shift that system. But food justice is not just about looking at what's wrong. And this is why I think it's such a beautiful way to think about food and to think about how to grow something different, because it really is also about creating a new set of possibilities. Here's a quote that I love, defining food justice. And it's from an organization called Just Food. And they say food justice is communities exercising their right to grow, sell, and eat healthy food. Healthy food is fresh, nutritious, affordable, culturally appropriate, and grown locally with care for the well-being of the land, workers, and animals. People practicing food justice leads to a strong local food system, self-reliant communities, and a healthy environment. So in other words, food justice is the action of creating a different set of social relations where the center, the purpose, the intention is nourishing ourselves, our land, the seeds, and also everybody who puts their hands on the food that we end up eating. And there's a third thing that I think is really beautiful about food justice, and it's the dimension that we're actually going to try to tune in together today in this meditation. And that's that when we practice food justice, when we go to the earth together, what we see is that land justice and food justice are really very connected. And that in order to practice food justice, we come into a different kind of consciousness. It's a consciousness that remembers that the seed itself is alive, that the earth itself is alive, that the seed is able to grow because of the earth and the sun and the water, which go into feeding our bodies and our spirits. So it's putting ourselves back into this dynamic right relationship with land, with earth, with our role as stewards to the land, to the earth, and to the food that we're growing to feed ourselves. And when you come into that right relationship with earth and with food and with planting and nourishing the earth, there's also a lot of messages that we can get. We can start to remember things that have been robbed from us through being asked to consume everything through the market and to crush ourselves down into the sort of capitalist exploitation that we are all a part of. So today for our meditation, I am going to guide us to hang out with this apple tree. And in hanging out with that apple tree, hopefully we'll be able to, and you'll feel a sense of release and relaxation in your body. Because the other thing that happens here when we move out of capitalism and into solidarity economics, when we remember that our food is alive and has life force energy that we're consuming, and we're caring for this earth as we care for ourselves, we remember our own bodies, right? That our bodies are also in need of nourishment, in need of love, in need of solidarity. So I invite you now to just focus in on this image of this apple tree before closing your eyes at all. Just see if you can imagine what that tree bark might feel like to touch. Imagine what that grass might feel like beneath your feet. Imagine reaching your hand up and grabbing hold of the apple. What does it feel like in your hand? Is it heavy or light? Is it cold or warm? And just continue to feel in with all of your senses the experience of being with this tree. And now I invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable for you, or to just lower your gaze if you'd rather keep your eyes open. Feel all the places where your body is touching the seat below you. And now imagine that you're going up to this tree, really putting your hand on the tree, saying hello. And then finding a comfortable seat. You might imagine you have a blanket that you're putting down on the ground, whatever you need. Maybe you're bringing a pillow from your house, whatever you need to feel really comfortable. And just settle in, imagining yourself now sitting with your back against this tree. And see if you can allow yourself to become 1% more grounded and connected to your body and the earth beneath you. As you breathe, feeling the air around you in this beautiful field of trees. Maybe you can feel the energy of the tree on your back, feeling the roots of the tree beneath you. And now we're going to go one step deeper into this meditation. And I invite you to now look up at these apples. See the sun shining through. Seeing that the sun is feeding the leaves that are connected to the branches, that are connected to the tree trunk, that are connected to the ground, to the roots, that are connected to the dirt, and to the layer of rock and magma below that. The tree is literally being held by the earth and the heavens. Now feel that same connection in your own body. In the language of land justice, we are all one and everything is our relation. That this tree, some say, is an ancestor or a plant-cestor, holding the same kind of consciousness that we have. So allow that grounded, rooted tree holding this apple, this fruit that can feed us, to offer us a lesson about how to be grounded ourselves. As you feel all the places where your body is touching the earth and the tree, as your energy just moves down to be grounded. And your face is also fed by the sun, pouring over you, down your head, in your shoulders and your body. And see if just this brief meditation creates a shift in your physical form. Do you feel more spacious, more at ease? You might become aware of sensations in the body that you weren't aware of before. And all is perfect. You're just tuning in to what is there. No need to change anything. So allow yourself to be supported by nature. And now I invite you to reach up and put your hand around the lowest hanging apple you can find and pluck the apple from the tree and hold it in your hands. And just be with the apple and see, what does the apple have to tell you about its process of growth? How it became this rich, full fruit. Now I invite you to imagine yourself taking a bite of that apple and see if you can feel the sunshine in your mouth now. See if you can feel the earth, the water, the life force of that tree as you start to eat that apple. Opening yourself up to receiving that energy to nourish you as you breathe and release down into the ground. And we're just going to sit here for a minute. And in this moment of quiet pause, I also invite you to allow yourself to do whatever you need to do within the imagination of sitting with this tree. So if this tree inspires your imaginary self to dance, let yourself dance. If biting into that apple makes you want to lie down and sprawl out on the earth, I invite you to do that too. Here we are connecting in with something beyond the hustle and the bustle of everyday life, an intuition that we have about what our bodies need right now in this moment to feel nourished, to feel restored. Maybe you want to climb the tree and sit in the branches. All is perfect. And I invite you to allow yourself to give yourself permission to play and explore here for the next minute or so. In the language of food justice, the exploitation and the extraction and the chemicals that we use to produce our food do not just rob us of some of the life force energy that might be naturally within the food we eat, but it actually robs us of our ability to connect fully with ourselves. When we are able to make that shift back into wholeness with all that is, something beautiful returns to us. Our ability to know what we need, our ability to meet ourselves with resilience and care, and to give ourselves permission to rest and restore when we need to. So I invite you now to say thank you to the tree, this beautiful apple tree. Just knowing that this apple tree's energy, vibration, life force is in all of the food we eat. Slowly coming back into the room you're sitting in, and fold that meditation into your heart, canvassing all that you might have discovered, even if it's just, oh wow, I really needed to pause. What did you learn? What did you feel doing this exercise? And so it is with this care, the care that the apple tree has given to us today, that we can care for one another and ourselves as well. And in this way, food justice and land justice, caring for the earth, also is a framework for how we can care for and help to create liberatory spaces for one another. So before we close out for good, I invite you to call up in front of you anyone that you think could use a little bit of healing today, and offer them this apple tree in your mind's eye. Hand them the nourishment of sitting underneath the sun, and ask them to pass that on as well, as we reverberate our own healing, our own moment of pause and restoration out into the world, for it to travel to whoever might need it today. And then you can start to wiggle your fingers and toes, move your body around. And then when you're ready, I invite you to open up your eyes. And in the moments that we have left, I encourage you to write into the chat what you learned today, what you felt, what messages might have come through, what it felt like to take a bite of that apple after connecting with the tree that it came from. And this is also a time where you can ask questions if you have any.
Okay, that was powerful. I was half asleep. So relaxed that I tried not to slip into a little cat nap. But I felt my ancestral connections, like I felt like they were with me in the room, and that they were taken in this apple tree as well. And so I appreciate that apple tree for the journey that it took my mind, that it took it transformed me from one space to another, in so many different levels. And so I really thank you for that. I think many of us probably got a lot of things. We have calm and want to be more intentional about what they eat and consume. They're pausing to reflect on inner connectivity. We have a question. Are there particular modes of consumption that can support food and land justice? And the second part of that question is, what actions can we take as individuals in our daily lives?
Those are such important questions. And they're not that easy to answer, unfortunately, because so much of, I mean, we're really forced to buy our food through the market. And so we kind of have to interact with those consumption ways. But I do think that there are local farms that you can buy from in your community, especially those that are owned by Black and Indigenous people of color, or those who are native to the land that you're on. And so I would encourage you to figure out where those farms are and if you can purchase directly to them. The one thing I'll say from research on this sort of systemic inequality is farmers markets actually end up being pretty close networks. And so there aren't a lot of farmers of color that, especially Black farmers, that can get into those spaces. So it might take a little bit of creative searching to find them, but I would recommend starting there.
Okay. See if there's any other questions here. What did you learn? Oh, I guess that was a question from us to everyone else about how we can create liberatory spaces for one another. Let's see, there's some new messages coming in. Don't see any more questions though. I really don't. People must be so relaxed that they're basking in the ambiance of whatever it is they're feeling at this moment. And that's okay. You know, we don't have to have questions. Oh, can you talk about your journey into food justice, Dr. Young?
Yeah, no problem. Gosh, my journey into food justice.
What led you there? What led you
Well,
to do this type of work?
Honestly, I was getting my PhD and I was studying the sociology of race. I was studying incarceration at the time, but I also had a lot of healing that I needed to do for myself. I struggled chronically with depression and anxiety, and I kind of hit a point when I was 27 where I was like, something has to change. Something just,
Mm.
I cannot
You
keep
mean
going this
yesterday?
way.
You hit this point yesterday.
Wish it was yesterday, but yeah. And I was in Oakland in the food justice movement, which is really it's like the Black Panther movement and Cesar Chavez's movement is still so just alive here. And then that's the food justice movement. And so I was tuned in and it was like, oh, okay, this is the place where people aren't just rallying against injustice. We're actually feeding each other. We're nourishing each other and we're nourishing the land and we're trying to break into a different way of relating. And so I started gardening. And when I started gardening, what you said, Janelle, is so deep. It was like the ancestral messages that I just never learned, they started coming to me. And I could access a healing that I had been searching for. And I wasn't getting through anything else besides literally putting my hands on the land and working with the plants. So that was it. I was like, this is it. There's something liberatory here, right? If the plants are speaking to us, we just have to open up to hear them. There's so much medicine there.
Yeah, I love that answer. I'm in Prince Frederick, Maryland, which is in Calvert County. And we have a wonderful farm, about 10 minutes from where I live, called Serenity Farms. And they have a wonderful program for reentries who actually come and learn to put their hands to the soil and produce food that ends up going to the table. And they actually feed the tri-counties. So that's St. Mary's County, Calvert County, and Charles County. They feed all of the pantries and places where you can get free produce. And it's a very powerful program, but it's all about healing and feeling special about putting your hand in that soil and the richness of producing something yourself that is very useful for people around you, for your community. And it's such a powerful place. Listen, if you haven't been there, go. They also have a meat, like a fresh meat there as well. But Serenity Farms, it's in Benedict, well, type Hughesville, you'll get it. Hughesville, Maryland. All right, well, we don't have any more questions. Uh-oh. Can we answer?
You know, honestly, there's a lot of organizations working on food justice. Just Food is one of them.
Yes.
Just Food, Planting Justice, Songgraite, I think Land Trust.
Mhm.
Those are some places that I would check out. And then you can also from there, if you Google food justice organizations, you'll find them. Oh, the National Alliance for Black Food and Justice. They're amazing. Oh, and Malik Yakani in Detroit, he has the Black Food Sovereignty Network, I think. Black Food Sovereignty Network. Excuse my spelling.
Right.
I'm doing this just to the panelists. Sorry about that. Yes,
Okay.
I've been chatting just to the panelists, I see. Planting Justice, Songgraite Land Trust, Black Food Sovereignty Network, National Coalition for Food and Justice.
That's a good start. And there's so
Yes.
many more. There's like, and depending upon where you live, there's some in your neighborhood, I'm sure. Listen, we want to thank everyone for joining us today for Take Time Thursday. We hope that you learned something. We hope that you connected with nature, with, you know, with the ancestral pull in your family. You know, one with just peace, you know, within your soul, and relaxation, which is what this program is all about. So Dr. Kara Young, your voice is so healing and so amazing and calming. And we thank you for the work that you're doing in food justice. And thank you for sharing your meditation with us today. Thank you so much. Join us next week, guys. For now, we'll say goodbye. Bye now.